So this next exercise that we're gonna do is called a submax isometric exercise for your hip adductors, your gluteus medius, which is pretty weak, which we would expect. What was I gonna say? Yes, yeah, your gluteus medius was a 2 out of 5 strength. Okay. So we want to increase that. That's a very, very important muscle for everything. So we really got to improve that strength. So in order to do so, we're going to start with what we call a neuromuscular re-education activity. And this is because, and I'm going to get you started in the exercise, and then I'll kind of explain to you the reasoning behind the madness, okay? So this is, I'm going to place my hand here on your limb like so. But I'm going to use this pillow here because I just think that it'll be a little more comfortable, especially with that pain that you're experiencing. It might be a little more comfortable up against a pillow, okay? But what I want to do is I actually feel I want to demonstrate it on your right leg just because that if you don't do it correctly, that way you can feel it and not feel any pain, increased pain. So we're gonna start here, and what I want you to do is you're just gonna give kind of like my hand a hug with your leg, okay? So you're not trying to break through any of my resistance at all. You're just meeting my hand, and then you're gonna hold it there for 10 seconds. I want you to count out loud, so that way I'm making sure you're breathing, okay? So go ahead, kind of push into my hand. You can push a little harder than that, I think. There you go. So you're meeting my resistance here, okay? So now push harder. So now you're trying to really push past my hand. Push harder. Push. Bring your leg out. Like that. There you go. Okay, good. Yeah, so now, again, just meet the resistance. A little too much. There you go. So you're just meeting it. Perfect. So that's what we're going to do on the other side, okay? And here. And actually, I think I'm just going to take the pillowcase so that way I can feel the pressure that you're giving me. All right. No, go ahead. Keep your leg down. All you're doing is you're going to I'm going to go ahead and move your leg out. You're just coming out like so, okay? So go ahead. Push into my hand. Good. I'm going to push this hip down to make sure that we have our pelvis stabilized. All right, out loud, kind of loud. There you go. All right. So we're going to do 10 reps of this, and we're going to do 10-second holds. And our goal here is go ahead, relax. Our goal here is for neuromuscular re-education of the hip adductors, specifically the gluteus medius. We want to increase the number of motor units firing and then the rate at which they fire so we can cause synchronization of the motor firing units. And then what that will cause is an improved muscle contraction overall. We really want to increase her strength so we can get her up in against gravity positions to really overload the hip abductors to get her ready for that prosthetic limb. And now how I would regress this activity is I would have do some active assisted range of motion. She cannot get through the full range of motion against gravity at all because she's a 2 out of 5. She can get some motion, and then I'm going to give her the rest. And this is, again, for neuromuscular re-ed purposes. We'll do 1 set of 10. So what I would do is I'm going to have my right arm, and again, in normal circumstances, I would have a plinth that I would be able to have better body mechanics, but I'm unable to do so at the moment. So I'm going to stabilize again on the contralateral hip, and I'm going to, all right, so I want you to do as much work as you possibly can, and then I'm gonna help with the rest, okay? Okay, so she's going, and I'm kind of helping guide that motion. Again, stabilizing her pelvis down. Good. And we do 1 set of 10 of that. If I wanted to progress this activity, I am going to get my patient, wait, if I wanted to progress this activity, I'm going to have my patient do some max ISO in standing. So I'm gonna, again, pause the video so I can get it set up. Good? All right, so now we're going to do standing hip abduction isometric. So I have this ball here providing an input for the patient. She's going to push into the ball, or she's going to push the ball into the wall. But I really want to make sure that my patient has good upright posture. I want to make sure that her pelvis is not rotating at all. I want to make sure that this right hip isn't getting tired and dropping. And this is going to be a progression from this activity because I now have the patient in standing and against gravity doing a submax isometric exercise. So pushing in, 10-second holds. All right, let's go ahead. Look at, you're kind of shifting towards your right. Good, so we want to stand up right here, good. And because the patient is so light, I am pretty capable of kind of standing behind her. And we're gonna pretend that this walker is parallel bars because that's all we have. So patient, again, upright. So I want you to look up, so given verbal cues, because this is a very challenging activity. And I can also be, and I'm also providing my videographer some NDT to the back of her left glute to kind of facilitate the firing. You could pause.